everybody, welcome back to Milwaukee Racing. This is part 4 of the Raptor, 2020 Raptor build. If you haven't seen the other 1, 2, 3, go back and check them out, give you an update. We're here today though, we're gonna actually upgrade the front of this truck, level it out with some Eibach Leveling Springs. I actually had a 2018 Raptor as well as Jesse, and I put these on the front of my truck, and I liked them a lot. They're not a progressive rate spring like the geysers and what everybody's running, but they did good. I got 2 1/4 inches out of the front, looked really good, cleared to 35, 1250 on a minus 24, 17. He actually had the RPG collars, which after he put those in is what helped me make my decision on the springs, because he had some pretty bad ride quality with it. Maxed out the strut and the spring.
Now that was on a 2017 to 2018 Ford Raptor. Now this is a 19 to 20. So we both previously owned the first iteration of the Gen 2 Raptor, which again 17 to 18 they had the non-electronically valved shocks. So RPG, they're a good company. They make a bunch of good aftermarket parts, but they do what they call a spring perch mount, which basically raises the cup of the seat of the bottom of the factory springs up, and they make them from 1 1/4 all the way to 2 inch, 2 1/2 to 3 inch, and I think they even just came out with a 3 1/2 inch, which is pretty wild. I had the 2 1/2 inch, if I recall right, is either 2 1/4, 2 1/2 inch on my 2018, and it was the worst thing I could have done to that truck. It actually ruined the truck for me. Is one of the reasons why we ended up selling it at the time. I put it on there, and it just acted like a 10-inch lifted truck that had 6-inch lift shocks on it, and it just felt like you were topping out the shock every time you go over a bump. Anything that was a sudden downward motion of the suspension, the spring was basically just so. The progression of the spring was so changed. It had so much stored energy now in it because you basically shortened up the spring by raising the perch up, that every time you go over a bump, it would just basically jolt apart. It was basically trying to shoot the strut apart from itself.
And I was about to say, before everybody comments saying that they have good luck and everything, every vehicle's different, and
Everybody
also too
wants different ride quality.
He had it maxed out, and if you are running anything shorter than that, inch and a half, whatever, it's probably going to be fine. Now, everybody's probably not doing what he's doing by jumping the railroad tracks all the time.
Yes, we do urban hooning. It's the reason why me and my wife buy this truck. It's the reason why we like it. We jump railroad tracks. We've curbs 40 miles an hour, parking blocks at Walmart, anything that can be driven over top of, or
he's an extreme mall crawler.
Yes, we don't do mud.
Yeah, I don't really know what hooning means. I know what honing is. I don't know what hooning is or how to spell that.
Ken block, doing donuts, the do-to-dos, and all the.
Okay.
Urban hooning.
Right on. I'll have to Wikipedia that.
Yeah. With all that being said, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up doing a time lapse. We're not going to do a how-to. There's a million videos of how-to do springs on F-150s, the Raptors, and all that stuff. We will show you a little clip of the sketchiness of putting 3 or 4 spring compressors on these struts to try to get them off. It's not ideal, but it's been done. It's doable. It'll just be sketchy. It'll be cool to watch. Other than that, it's going to be mostly time-lapse video, and hopefully make this thing short. Like I said, we'll probably throw at the end of it with the beadlocks, wheels, and tires that you saw back in part 3. But we're not going to put them on right now because I want to keep the stock wheels and tires on there so I can go to the alignment machine and they don't scratch or do anything to the beadlocks or chip them or anything like that because they are painted. So with that being said, we're going to set you down. We're going to get you set up for a time lapse. We're going to get the wheels and tires off, and we're going to get cranked away at this.
If you haven't already, like and subscribe. More cool stuff to come.
So, little update. We got both springs out. I mean, man, having a lift makes things 10 times easier. It took us probably, I would say, about 15 minutes to get the driver's side spring out. Hardest thing was reaching for the clip for the live valves that was up above the fender well. Passenger side was a different ordeal. Ford decides to put one top strut mount perch bolt in the very back that is about damn near impossible to get to. You saw us, we had the hood open, we were trying to get to it with impacts and everything. We didn't want to strip out the nut, but finally got it out. We're moving on to the fun part, which is going to be getting these monstrous springs off. Not only the factory one's pretty beefy, putting these Eibachs on are going to be even worse. So only thing you got to note here is you need to make sure that you mark the bottom of the strut cup, so the top of the strut cup, just to make sure that you put the orientation back on there, because there are ways that you could spin that top to fit in the cup on the strut mount on the truck, and you could actually get it in the wrong orientation, and this live valve will be facing the wrong way. So all you need to do is just mark this, mark that, and when the spring sits in there, everything will sit fine. And just make sure that you have the top cup aligned with the bottom of the shock. And these are, you have to make sure that the orientation of them are correct. So you see you got one marked with an L, marked one with a right. You do need to make sure that you cannot cross these, otherwise they will be again in the wrong orientation, and you could damage one of these live valves driving down the road. You want the third one on there, or you just want to see what these two are going to do first?
These two will go all right.
Okay. Don't stop, bro.
Let's do one at a time.
Yeah, just so we don't get mixed up. I agree.
down to that lock.
Alright, ready?
Yeah. Keep going, keep going. Feel it. Oh. Okay. Dude, what?
Move. Pick that nut up at flip one.
All right, so wheels are back on, everything's back tight, both sides are in, both struts are in. Springs are on. Went ahead and did an oil change too, just because I wanted to do one. It has 1,200 miles on there. Went to Mobile and synthetic. Still got to put oil in it, but as far as everything else, we're all good. We're gonna go ahead and set it down, and you're gonna see it just as soon as I do. The way them springs are in there, I think it's gonna be a little bit more than 1.5 inches. Yeah. It hasn't settled, so it's definitely not going to be nose high because the ass end of it's still.
No, right now.
But yeah, it'll settle too, probably about 1/2 inch. We haven't put any weight in front of it. I think it looks good.
Weight of the vehicle in front of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does need a little bit of alignment.
Yeah, 1.5 inches. I think we're like 2.25 right now. It's probably gonna be like.
Yeah, it'll probably settle what, 1/4 or so, 1/4 inch. Definitely looks a lot better. Doesn't look like a damn F-150 anymore. Stock F-150.
That ain't gonna be it.
Yeah, too bad it ain't got a V8. They're changing that. Changing that.
Ford shit the bed with that.
I like this motor. Sounds like shit, but I like it.